Fellow nerds, we are talking Star Wars Celebration 2023 Europe, and we know leading up to this, we had heard a rumor that they were announcing 3 movies at the celebration, and they did just that. And those 3 movies are, in no order of importance or anything else, the first one is a movie about Jedi Master Rey Skywalker / Palpatine, rebuilding the Jedi Order. And this is the one that was being written by Damon Lindelof, that is now being written by Stephen Knight. Is that right? Stephen Knight, the guy who did Peaky Blinders. And is directed by Shameen Obeid-Chinoff, who did Miss Marvel. So we now kind of know the little story. It takes place 15 years after that wonderful film, Rise of Skywalker. And it sounds like Rey is attempting to rebuild the Jedi Order, and that is about all that we know.
So we don't know the name of this movie?
We do not know the name. We only know the little bits of the plot that we talked about. The only character we know that's in it for sure is Rey. We know the director and the writer. So now there's supposed to be a movie coming out in 2025. I am going to assume this is the one coming out in 2025. And the only reason I'll explain why I think that's the one coming out in 2025. It seems like it has the most things already going for it, because the other 2 movies that we heard that were coming out, the first one is being directed by Dave Filoni, and it is going to be basically the culmination of all the things going on in the Mandoverse currently. Now, a lot of people were reporting that this is the end of the Mandoverse, but I don't see it that way. I think it's more like a Avengers team-up movie. I hate to use the Avengers team-up, but it's like all this stuff coming together, and then we get this movie, and then there'll be more stories past that. It's not just going to be the end of the Mandoverse. It's too successful. So I don't think that's ready to be, made yet. Obviously, a lot of pieces are coming together. We got, obviously, Thrawn was shown in the Ahsoka trailer, which we'll show in a little bit. We'll talk it, we'll break it down and talk about it. We have, everything that's going on in The Mandalorian with Moff Gideon and, big name cameos that everyone's upset about. So all of this stuff is eventually, I don't know if we're going to get a Rangers of the New Republic, anything like that, but it's all going to come together, and we're going to get that big movie with Dave Filoni. I think that's going to be coming out probably 2027, somewhere around there.
Yeah, we got to go through a bunch of series first, so there's a lot of build-up. And I don't think, everyone always thinks, when I talk to people, they always think the biggest culmination you can have is to have a movie about something. And I don't think that's the way. I think, that's the way. That's funny. You can tell a lot more in a TV show. And if you have, movies are only like 2 hours long. And so, yeah, they'll have the big budget, and they'll have it at the theater where everybody can go see it. But I don't see it as necessarily being more entertaining. But as far as like Filoni goes, I trust everything he does. I'm sure it's going to all culminate together with 4 different TV shows culminating into this movie. I think it'll be amazing.
I think right now it's just The Mandalorian and Ahsoka, because Skeleton Crew and The Acolyte are the other shows coming out. I don't think they really have anything to do. Skeleton Crew may touch a little bit on the Mandoverse, but I don't think it's really going to be a part of it. Rangers of the
same time period, so maybe, who knows?
Yeah, it could. You're absolutely right. We don't know enough about it yet, so
I'm what right?
You are absolutely right. And then the third movie, which is the movie that I am most excited about, is by James Mangold, who directed Dial of Destiny, the new Indiana Jones film, the Wolverine. He's done a lot, and I think he's a pretty talented guy. And basically what he is going to do, it's 25,000 years before A New Hope and all of that stuff, and it's basically a story about the first Jedi.
25,000 or 2,500?
It said 25,000 on the thing.
Well, he's got nothing to build up to then. He can do anything he wants.
That's right. He's got the most freedom. He can do most. He was talking about it being biblical in proportion. And I was like, all right, you know what? That sounds great. I am definitely down for that. But it was funny because he also confirmed while he was at Star Wars Celebration Europe a DCU rumor. Because they asked him about this movie, and this is why I think this one's going to be the last one to come out. This is probably going to be 2028, 2029, somewhere around there. Because they asked him about it, and he goes, well, I'm currently writing it while I'm writing Swamp Thing. So he confirmed he's writing Swamp Thing. He also confirmed he's directing Swamp Thing. Yeah, and when they asked him when he said what's coming out, they were like, oh, well, what's coming out first? He goes, I don't really know. He goes, we got to see where things fall, actors, schedules, all that. He goes, I don't know, but I'm working on both of the scripts right now, and we're getting everything into place. So it sounds like that is the furthest one from even entering any sort of production phase. But those are the three. I don't know if the Jedi Master Rey movie is going to build out into more movies. I certainly hope so. A lot of people were very upset that Rey is back. And I think, Doug, when we were talking on our Slack channel, made a very good point. As long as JJ's not doing it, I think we're okay. Well, nothing wrong with the character per se. It was how she was written that I think had most people's biggest problem with her in the movies. She just kind of was a little too fast to capture all of the techniques of the Jedi, everything else. So this may be a little different. Maybe we'll have some younger characters. She may not even be the main character. She may just be, a part of this new. Yeah, exactly. So, we know that's coming.
As far as my thought, I just am not looking forward to it. I mean, I'll go see it. I'll give it a chance, but it's like, I was underwhelmed with her story before, and just that have the same character. It's like, oh, okay. I mean, they'd have to really make some radical changes for, me to look forward to it. Or if they came out with a trailer like the second Andor trailer, or was it actually watching the show that got me hooked? But
I was watching.
Yeah.
I think Doug was the second trailer, and I think you were the show.
Yeah. I mean, so I'll have to wait because I don't expect much. And then I read in one of these articles that I've been reading that they're going to try and bring back Kylo Ren. I was like, no, don't do that. Just don't do it.
That was a rumor. Please don't do it. I mean, we don't need, and somehow Kylo Ren returned. His arc is done. Let it be gone. Write new characters. You don't need to keep rehashing old stuff. And it's, while you say that, I think a lot of this, and I don't like to bash presidents of studios a lot, but with all of these announcements, the whole time I kept thinking, I'll almost believe these are going to be movies when I see that first trailer. Because we have heard so much stuff announced from Star Wars, and directors get fired and they change things up. There was supposed to be a Boba Fett movie at one point. It never happened. There's all these rumors about movies. Rogue Squadron was coming out. Kevin Feige was supposed to have a movie. All we hear is announcement after announcement, and nothing ever happens. So I like what they're saying here, but once again, let's see something before we're going to be like, yeah, they're making these movies.
Right. I think that's why Kathleen Kennedy's on her way out. I think I read that last year that they didn't want her announcing any new projects because, just like you said, everything either falls through or it gets changed. So just, hey, don't announce anything new because, maybe her leadership is just like a little all over the place, and that's what her problem is.
And I mean, every studio, parts ways with directors, creative differences. It happens everywhere, but it just seems to happen a lot more at Lucasfilm. Mm-hmm. And when that happens, the buck stops with the president. And if she can't get these movies made and get things on track, she's going to be the one who has to go. So I think it's inevitable at this point with just how everything has went. Just a complete lack of direction for the sequel trilogy. One of the positive things has been the Mandoverse. But with how great The Mandalorian has been, we're hearing that there was a lot of interference with season 3 of The Mandalorian and how things should go. And Jon Favreau, now this is a rumor, I don't know if it's true or not, was threatening to leave because he didn't want it. He's like, listen, I'm doing my show. If you guys are going to, change everything I'm doing, I just won't do it. It's not for me. And it sounds, if that's true or not, if it really was Kathleen Kennedy who was jumping in there and trying to get a bunch of things changed, we may very well. Oh, that's weird. My mouse was like clicking. It's like my mouse was clicking by itself. That was really weird. But if it is, yeah, she's the one who needs to go. And if it does happen, I won't be too sad. It's not like it's Kevin Feige, who's done so much great things. Since she stepped in, it hasn't been all that great. So I'm not overly worried about it if she stays or goes.
Yeah, I mean, we can obviously see, like at each studio, like the Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige's the guy, James Gunn's the guy at DC, and I think Filoni should be the guy at Star Wars. I mean, it's all obvious to the rest of us, whoever does the best work on those, and it's just a no-brainer.
And it's Kevin Feige has proved he can work with other creative people to get things done and get it done the way he is. It seems like Kathleen Kennedy cannot. When you're not getting projects pushed out and people are leaving and things are announced and never get made. I mean, the one thing that they talked about during Star Wars Celebration Europe that I was kind of like, oh, okay. The Rian Johnson trilogy is not in active development. They didn't say it was canceled, but they said it's not in active development. Taika Waititi is still working on his movie. They said he's working on a script. They didn't have anything to talk about it yet. So I don't think that's necessarily a bad or a good sign. They didn't want to say anything because they probably have no idea what he's going to write and what it's going to be about. So just wait. And then we also heard that the rumored Lando Calrissian Disney Plus series with Donald Glover is actually still going to happen. Once again, it's not in active development. Donald Glover is a very busy man, so he's doing other things, and when it's time, supposedly they're still going to make it. So, who knows?
He was making some other. He's on some other TV show right now, like Atlanta or no. I don't even know if that's still on.
I think the final season is coming, but he was working on that, and he's doing music and everything else. So who knows, what's going on.
Yeah, but I'm sure that I don't know who'd you say was going to direct that, but I think that Donald Glover did an excellent job in Solo as Lando. So I that looks promising to me. But I need to know who's writing it and who's directing it.
Yeah, I mean, that helps. But knowing if Donald Glover's on board, hopefully that's a good sign, and it gets made because he was great in Solo. Made me. I think he's better than Billy D. Williams as Lando, to be quite honest. Obviously, Billy D. Williams is a bit older, but I thought he did a great job. So I'm looking forward to it. I mean, out of all the things that they said are still kind of working, I was like, oh. I just thought that was canceled for whatever reason and just never going to be made. So that's a good sign.
Yeah, I wonder if Donald Glover, because he's like 40, 45 maybe? I don't know. And I wonder if he's the same age like Billy D. Williams was when he first did Lando. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's a good thought. I wonder, God, is Donald Glover really in his 40s?
I'll look it up. I know he's older than I thought he was. I mean, I thought he was in his late 20s. He's 39.
Okay, that's still older than I thought he was. I thought he was either late 20s, early 30s. But hey, that's cool. That's working well.
While I'm at it, I'm going to see how old Billy D. Williams was when they made...
excellent idea. Yep.
Get out of here. Get on out of here.
Who are you talking to? Me?
You silly.
Had to get my Vernors. I forgot to bring it out. I got home later than I thought and wasn't quite ready for all this.
I'm not ready. Okay. He was 43. So they're right around the same age.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
He's 86 now.
Wow. Which is about the same age as Christopher Lloyd.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think it's time now. We also had the Ahsoka trailer drop. So what should we do, fellow nerds? That's right. Let's watch the trailer. Let's make sure I got this right.
Something's coming.
Let's make sure we got sound and we're not underwater.
And of course, hold on a sec. I do got to fix monitor output, close. All right, is everybody ready?
All two of us.
Something's coming.
Once again, my sound is still not working, so hold it up 1 second.
You're bad with sound.
Well, I set it up the right way, and it was working prior to the stream. And then this gets silly. Let's do that. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. There we go. Now I can hear it.
Something's coming.
Oh, there we go. Yep.
Something dark.
He walks from the shadows.
I do kind of like this because if you look at it, the thing on the ground right there looks like almost a Jedi symbol. Like she is at a Jedi temple here of some. We know from Rebels and a couple of the other, shows that have shown, Jedi temples that aren't the main one on Coruscant, that there are smaller ones. And this kind of looks like what it is. And it looks like kind of whatever that is that's kind of blurring out the circular thing. Like there was a battle there perhaps. Like maybe the Empire went there to kind of take it down. Like Anakin knew where these Jedi temples were and took, when he became Vader, kind of went and, blew it up. So it kind of, that's what it looks like to me at least. It's kind of hard to tell. But we see, her drop down. I think that's such a cool scene.
That's it.
She's talking about that darkness coming, which, we've all, prior to this trailer, we all thought, yes, it's probably Grand Admiral Thrawn because, she name dropped him in that Mandalorian episode. And we do get that confirmed here in the trailer in a little bit, but it was nice to see. But I like the fact that it looks like she's going to be going to Jedi temples because this is kind of what we want to see out of Star Wars. We want Jedis doing kind of Jedi things, kind of lurking, trying to find any information, and all of that, Jedi type stuff. We don't want them, just sitting on an island per se, doing nothing.
She is not a Jedi, though.
She is not.
This is something.
Then we get a sweet shot of Sabine Wren just looking at her helmet. I noticed in this trailer, she's not wearing her armor at all. And I know that is going to probably change once, the movie comes out, or not the movie, but when the show comes out, I definitely think we'll see her. But I think they purposely did it without her being in her armor because I wonder if her armor is going to change from all the things that happened at the end of Rebels. And, it seemed like her relationship with Ezra was kind of building up and then he's gone. So being an artist, I wonder if she has made changes to her armor and they want that to be a surprise when the show comes out because I can't tell if she's wearing her armor there, but obviously she's not wearing her helmet. So that was...
The only thing I could see is like maybe her shoulders... That's got to be leather, though. The reflection on her shoulder. So it could be leather, so might not be at the beginning.
Then we see a loft cat. Nor Sabine. We see... I love this, too, because, these are the type of droids that we see fighting Jedi with those sticks. So, they did a great job. Uh-oh, hold on. I'm getting an SOS. I'll be right back.
Uh-oh.
Give me 1 sec.
So here we are, folks. It's just me. Here we are. And a paused screen for Ahsoka. I don't know. Well, Keith's not here. I've never been a fan of the casting of Ahsoka. I just don't think she fits the role. I mean, maybe she will in this season, but in the first couple of episodes I saw on The Mandalorian in season 2, and in Boba Fett, Mandalorian 2.5, I'm not impressed. I mean, I hope she can pick it up, but she's just not my choice. I mean, the other guys don't mind, but I do. I just don't. And after seeing the trailer that we're going to get through, I don't know how else to keep going here, is that it's nothing I haven't seen before. This new footage, it's just like, okay, that's Star Wars stuff. I wasn't wowed by it, but we'll see what happens. It's coming out this year. I am here. I had to turn off my screen for just a second.
Okay, I'm back.
I was talking about this show and the casting while you were gone. I didn't know what else to talk about. So go ahead.
No, but we do see her, taking on these sort of Jedi things. We've seen them in video games like this. I do believe General Grievous's guards kind of had the same thing. So it's interesting to see this type of tech with these people from, basically it looks like the prequel still around and people still using them. And we've seen it, in a lot of other shows, battle droids coming up in The Mandalorian and super battle droids coming up. So that tech is still out there and someone is still using it.
Yeah, I imagine there's still countries using muskets.
Yeah. Then we get our first shot of Hera. She's obviously flying around. It looks like it's the small part of the ghost. I can't remember what it's called, but this looks like the smaller part. It looks like she's chasing something through the air. We see Chopper right there.
Who's she played by again?
Mary Elizabeth
Winstead?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's all the time she gets in this trailer.
No, she's in it again. Yeah, it's not much, but they're saving her for the show. We get our favorite murder bot, Chopper. He's now confirmed for this. Then we get Ray Stevenson, and I'm not sure who this actress is, boarding a Republic ship. And this scene is almost directly out of that final shot from Rebels, where we see Ahsoka's ships kind of taking off and Sabine kind of standing there, right before she comes and recruits her. And, obviously in the show she had armor on and her helmet, and here she's sitting this. I don't think it's going to be the same scene. I think it's actually something different. Like maybe they talked in the past and she's coming back. Hey, now I have more information. Maybe it is time for you to join me and get Ezra now that Thrawn is definitely back.
Send a fulcrum message out.
Yeah.
It's been a while. Things have changed.
And I'm assuming that things that have changed that she's talking about is Thrawn is probably now back within the system, or at least they know where he is. I love this. We get the actress from Andor who played Mon Mothma showing up in Ahsoka.
Yeah, that is awesome. I saw that. Yeah, that's awesome.
Hearing whispers.
There we see the back of Grand Admiral.
As heir to the Empire.
Now is he played by Ray Stevenson? Because I don't like that.
No, Ray Stevenson is the Sith of the Jedi with the orange type blade. He's played by Lars. I can't remember his name. Yeah, the guy who played him in Rebels, the guy who did the voice for him in Rebels. And it was funny because they did not show, I didn't think they were going to announce who the actor was, because in the trailer they just showed the back of his head. And, people were guessing it was him, but they did announce him at Star Wars Celebration that it was him. I thought they were it was going to be a big reveal, like at the end of this season of Mando, that he was playing him, like he was going to show up. I still think he might show up in the end of the season of Mando, just to kind of set up Ahsoka, but they did confirm it. But I love the fact that she said right there, and I know is hey, they said the name. But when she's talking and she says, he's, Thrawn is back and he's the heir to the Empire. Because that was the Timothy Zahn books that were so great, got me back into Star Wars. I love that they did that.
They're probably not showing him because if he turns around, they don't want you to see the blue effect before you actually see the show. He's going to be blue.
He's blue?
Yeah, he's blue.
He's sad. Really, why is he sad?
He's like Elvis. He's having a blue Christmas.
And then we see here Morgan Elsbeth from season 2 of The Mandalorian, who this is the, basically Ahsoka won the Beskar spear from her that Mando used to end up defeating Moff Gideon. So I don't know if this is a flashback to maybe her, or we know she was working with Thrawn in some way, and maybe she's back with him now, and obviously Thrawn would be now alerted that Ahsoka is out looking, for him. So could be interesting. And then that's Ray Stevenson. He's this, which the more I look at that saber, that is not a red saber. I had a few thoughts about this.
See, I saw it and I saw red. I said, "This is a Sith." That's what But what do you say?
Well, I don't. It's not as red as some of the other ones. There's two things I've thought about this. One, because we know that the Sith get their red lightsabers when they bleed the crystals with the dark side, and that's what changes the color to red. Like it could be blue, it could be green, and maybe these guys are Sith and they bleed it a different way that turns it more of an orange color instead of red.
Okay.
Or
that's one theory.
That is one thing I thought. The other thing is that they're not necessarily Sith. They may just be Force users. Like they may be from somewhere else. And they don't consider a Jedi Sith. Yeah, they could just be Force-sensitive mercenaries that just happen to be either employed by Thrawn, we don't know, or a third factor in all of this. They may not be working for anybody. They may be their own entity, and they're just working against Ahsoka for something. Now, the other thing I thought is maybe they're Jedi and Padawan, like Ray Stevenson's character. I think his name's Baylor, something along those lines. He's the master, and the girl we saw is his apprentice, or Padawan, or they are Sith and apprentice. So much could happen, or they could be so many things. It's kind of nice that they only gave us glimpses of them and didn't tell too much of their backstory.
We have to prepare for the worst.
And there we go. We get another shot of Hera. A lot of people are saying she doesn't match her look from Rebels, which is true, but she does match her look from Star Wars Squadrons, which was the game that EA came out with, and she kind of looked more like this. She still has her ear things on, and her colors are a little different.
I'm a big fan of Mary Elizabeth Winstead anyway, so I don't mind.
Yeah, she's gonna do great. She's a good actress. As long as the writing. That's right. She's married to Ewan McGregor. So she's definitely gonna be good. We see Ahsoka, which once again, our cohort Doug had tweeted out to Rosario Dawson and a few others, just asking if this is the world between worlds. For those of you who saw Rebels, know that this is basically a place outside of time and space, and it's where Ezra kind of saved Ahsoka when she was about to be killed by Darth Vader and kind of pulled her out of time. So that's why I don't know if this guy is a Sith. He may just be a Jedi who has access to the world between worlds. He could be from 1,000 years from now. He could be from the past. He could be from the future. So I don't know if
He's from that James Mangold movie. That's what
that
it
would
is.
be nuts if he was. That would be
Yeah, he's
fantastic.
the guardian of the world between worlds. He's in there to guard it, like the Indiana Jones and not the Temple of Doom, but what's the other one with Sean Connery?
The Last Crusade.
Last Crusade. When they get there and that guy's been sitting there for millennia, well, that's this guy. This guy's been here for millennia, protecting the world between worlds.
Yep. I mean, well, we know that there's the father, the sister, and the brother in the Clone Wars arc that we saw where the sister Ahsoka had died. And the sister basically gave up her life force to Ahsoka. So Ahsoka is technically the sister. That's why that owl kind of follows her around. No.
The fourth sister.
What if this is the brother or a disciple of the brother who's going after the sister? Because the sister was always the good of the Force. The brother was always sort of the dark side of the Force. And then, like, the father was the, basically both. And it's funny because we do see him Force choking some New Republic soldiers later on a ship. So he's definitely a very, talented Force user. So it'll be interesting to see him taking on, because we do see Ahsoka, and I like how, I didn't pause it fast enough, but we see her using her foot against a wall, because she's probably not as strong as him, physical strength. Force-wise, she's probably the same or a little less, but she's using that to kind of balance and maybe physically keep him off of her, because he looks like he might just overpower her at this point. Yep. And then we see his apprentice Jedi again flying a ship, which I looked up her name and I can't remember it now, but it'll be interesting to see her. I've never seen her in anything, so hopefully she's good.
Like a young
of course,
Christina Ricci.
Yeah, it kind of does. You're right.
Kind of, yeah.
But to me, all of a sudden, in this shot, it's all red, which I think is definitely hinting at, if not Sith, at least, more of dark side user than the Jedi.
The Jedi fell.
Yeah, they're pretty good at framing their scenes with the colors that they have in them, so that you know what kind of person this is when the whole scene's red like that.
Yeah, like when Vader turned on his lightsaber in Rogue One and it lit up all red. Yeah.
Yeah.
Luke Skywalker, almost the same thing in The Mandalorian when he lit up green. It had that glow.
It's like this
then
is
here
good
we
news, this is bad news.
Yep. Then this is what I was talking about. He's obviously Force choking this poor New Republic soldier, guard. I'm not really sure. It's got the blue uniform.
It looks like a flashback back to the Vader days.
You're right. It does look like an older uniform.
You know what I'm saying? Like right at the beginning of A New Hope.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. And once again, with the world between worlds, they can travel from time to time. And if he was around then and found the world between worlds and came to 5 years after Return of the Jedi, that's not out of the realm of possibilities.
Right.
And then we see Sabine with a little hologram of Ezra. I don't know if that's her talking to him or if that's just something she keeps to remind, herself of Ezra, because she doesn't seem to be communicating with it. But once again, we only see it for a split second on screen here.
And
Just
if
to
he
say,
stands that way normally, then that's just a weird stance.
it is a very weird stance. Maybe he's being,
This is better.
yeah, heck yeah, that is. You're darn right.
They left.
And that's her. It certainly does not seem like she's talking to him. So I can only imagine it's, some memory hollow or something, just so she can, because they were getting close. Like I said earlier, at the end of Rebels, Ezra always seemed to have a crush on her, and those feelings seem to start being reciprocated near the end of the show. So she may be still having said feelings for him. Then we get some sweet, battle. It looks like, we had, definitely looks like it's an Inquisitor here at the Jedi Temple. So whoever sent,
The Black Panther.
yeah, or the Black Panther, yeah, good choice. We see it's going to be more than just those, two orange wielding force user people, orange bladed force using people. This could be an Inquisitor. Kind of looked like an Inquisitor to me. Maybe it's Ezra as an Inquisitor. Maybe Grand Admiral Thrawn turned him, but I don't think that's going to happen. Only
Even
because
if
the actor...
He will be redeemed.
Hopefully, yeah. We see her shoving him away. I love that warrior, outcast, rebel, Jedi. You know, we see her jumping out that window and landing there, which seems like the same spot where she was just fighting that Inquisitor or the double-bladed, you know, Sith guy right there. It seems like a whole lot of action is going on. And what we've heard for rumors with this show with, you know, kind of a what-if scenario at some points where, you know, she's battling Anakin Skywalker and Mustafar at one point, and it could be interesting. I don't know if that's going to be a what-if, or maybe it's going to be something that... Holy cow, excuse me. Or if it's going to be something that she goes back in time and she's meeting with Anakin before Obi-Wan and Padme show up on Mustafar. And it's maybe a battle or something. You know, there's a lot of possibilities, especially with the world between worlds.
Yeah. See, that's the only reason I don't like the world between worlds. You know, it's the you can go back and mess anything up. You know what I mean? But anyway, it's like the multiverse thing. I gotta deal with it.
No, it has to be handled correctly. If they jack things up, it won't be good. But if they use it effectively and make it, you know, believable and a cohesive story, excellent.
If they take the sequel trilogy and make it all some Elseworlds thing, more power to them.
Now here's one of my favorite parts of the trailer. Because for those of you who don't know who this bot is, my ear thing just fell out. I think his name's
like
Hunan.
You, as a beekeeper.
Oh, well, thank you. I will take that as a compliment, because this is Hunan, who you might remember from the Clone Wars. He was a droid who helped the younglings with their training. He took them to get their crystals and build their lightsabers. And in the Clone Wars, he was voiced by David Tennant.
And is this David Tennant voiced as well?
And this is David Tennant. They
Nice.
confirmed it after the trailer that David Tennant is returning to do the voice. I was very excited to hear that, because when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's the... I didn't remember his name at the time, but I'm like, that's the bot who, you know, helps all the younglings. And I hope Anakin didn't get to him. You know, turn him. But yeah, and you know what he's saying here is, you know, maybe it's time to do it again. I can only imagine he's talking about a new Jedi Order, which maybe he gets taken to Luke Skywalker's camp, because this is right around the time when Luke's building his thing. Almost seeing him almost makes me think we're going to see Luke Skywalker in this. And this is going to be, he's going to go there to help him. He's going to be his droid to help him through the beginning of the new Jedi Order, which we know fails, unfortunately. Thank you. Thanks to J.J. Abrams. But at least we got David Tennant back for some live-action Star Wars.
Very nice.
And then we see the sweet Ahsoka pose with her two blades. Very excited to see this in live action. And then it cuts to the Ahsoka emblem, which, you know, looks fantastic. I'm very hyped for this show. I was, you know, excited for it before. This is Dave Filoni's baby, which he has written, he's directed, I think one episode at least. I think Bryce Dallas Howard, a few other, Rick, forget his name, man, I'm terrible at names. But the guy who's done some Mandalorian stuff, he's directed an episode. So they got a bunch of, you know, good Star Wars people, I think, to work on this. And I think with Dave Filoni being the showrunner, the writer, I think we're in for a treat. And that trailer definitely got me hyped for it.
See, I've always been hyped for this show. To pull away from it for me, or like as far as this trailer goes, it didn't get me any more or less hyped. You know, just saw stuff that I thought, the kind of stuff that I thought I was going to see anyway. So it didn't really blow me away. So that was, but it's still, I'm still hyped for it. And
you know, seeing. Go ahead.
No, the only other thing that, you know, is still that for me is the casting. I still don't like her in that role. So what were you gonna say?
I was just to say it's nice, like seeing her going to Jedi temples. It's nice seeing, not only do we get what looks like an Inquisitor in that one scene, we also get the other two Jedi that's going to be antagonists. We know that Lars Mikkelsen is coming back as Grand Admiral Thrawn, which should start calling him the heir to the Empire. I think definitely almost confirms that he is the power behind Moff Gideon, and I think we're going to see him being Thrawn and just outmaneuvering the New Republic and everyone else at every step. Now, how he's not in power when the next set of movies come out will be interesting to see, and it's probably what's going to be Dave Filoni's movie, where we see Luke, Ahsoka, everybody else kind of teaming up to kind of take him down, which I don't want his story to end too quickly, but obviously they have the constraints of the wonderful sequel trilogy that we all loved beyond reason that they're going to have to work within, because it doesn't seem like they're not going to retcon it out. So, they have to work within that, but
you want to put us back on the screen?
Maybe.
Yeah, I hope his movie. Well, I mean, Thrawn is a villain. Like, he could just be sidestepping everything that happened in the sequel trilogies. He could be out doing something else. Back burner. Like, if let's say that when's the Filoni movie supposed to be set in the universe? Before the Force Awakens?
Yes, before the Force Awakens.
So I wouldn't think they would have to take him out. He would just have to give him a nice setback, and then he could be in the background and then come back as a villain after the sequel trilogy. That's what I would do, something like that.
And I'm all for that. And what could happen? His people, the Chris, are in the basically past the outer rim, the galaxy beyond. I can't remember what they call it. So if you're right, he could be beaten, but he escapes and goes back to his people and comes back, in the movie 15 years after Rise of Skywalker, where Rey's trying to rebuild the Order with his own people. So he could be the enemy of the Mandoverse and then come back and also be post-sequel trilogy villain. I hope they do that way, because he's a good enough villain that he could carry that.
Now, was he another Filoni creation? Who created him?
Timothy Zahn.
Timothy Zahn did, okay. So,
yeah, his first appearance was in the Heir to the Empire book. So he was the villain of Heir to the Empire, Dark Force Rising, and The Last Command, which are all not in canon. But it does seem like they're almost building those stories up to be the next, like the end of the, I don't want to say end of the Mandoverse, but the end of this arc for the Mandoverse that we're getting in that Filoni movie.
No, yeah, that's, he's probably the best Star Wars villain. I mean, outside of Darth Vader, he's just so cool and calculating, and he he practices the ways of his enemy. He's very smart, very calculating, and he only really moves fast when he has to. He's very elusive. I don't know. He's just a really good villain.
No, he is. He takes everything into account. He knows his enemies so well. He's like, okay, when we do this, they're going to react this way. And we just need to be doing this, and we will defeat them. And it'll be nice to see him just outmaneuvering everybody. And, they're going to have to do something, a little non-standard to kind of beat them. So, they do that right, and they get the hype, the way they wrote him in Heir to the Empire, the way he was written in the new Zahn novels, the Thrawn Ascendancy, I think it's called. And then how he was portrayed in Rebels, too. Hey, let's do it. And I guess, at the end of Rebels, when we knew he wasn't going to be around, that would be almost kind of funny. We saw him in Rebels, and then him and Ezra got taken, by the Purgles away. So it explains where he was during the original trilogy.
Right.
And then he comes back post-Return of the Jedi, skirmishes with Ahsoka and the Mandalorians and stuff. And then something happens, and then he comes back after the sequel trilogy again.
Yeah.
I'm all for that. I like that idea.
Trilogy. Yeah. And he'd be like one of the longest, at that point he would be one of the longest lasting, characters, even in the Star Wars universe, besides the droids and Chewbacca.
Yeah. He would. I'm hoping you're right. I hope they do that because I think that's the way to go. Now, a few of the other things that was confirmed during this, which we had talked about, not that we had inside information, we were just hoping this was true. Tales of the Jedi Season 2 is coming. So those wonderful shorts with Ahsoka and Count Dooku are coming back for Season 2. Dave asked an excellent question, I think before we were on the air today.
Yeah.
Who are they going to be centered on? And we don't know that. It could be more Ahsoka, it could be more Count Dooku, but we just don't know the answer to that yet.
It'd be cool to see more Luke adventures. I would be down for that. Or even, like, I guess Obi-Wan doesn't have much else of the story to tell. His story was told during the Clone Wars and Rebels. And then once, what else could he have done? He had to, we had that one season this year. Was it this year, 2022? That show was on?
It was
Obi-Wan show?
Obviously, this is 2023, but it was 2022 that it came out, yes.
Is that obvious? Is that obvious to you? So it was last May then, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And that could about be, unless they get really creative here. They basically said he just lived out in the desert and made sure Luke was okay. So I don't know how many other stories that we can have, like for like a Tales of the Jedi type show for Obi-Wan. So I don't know. I think maybe even Leia training or something.
Yeah, I mean, I would be all for more Luke ones because we know a lot has happened. The 5 years, we don't know what he did the 5 years between Return of the Jedi and his appearance in The Mandalorian. So there could be a lot of stories there. There could be even stories, but during his Jedi Academy that was built. Maybe that's what they're talking about when, Ben Solo returning or Adam Driver. Maybe Adam Driver is going to do a voice for Tales of the Jedi, and it's him interacting with his uncle during the thing, and, Snoke kind of getting in there and, being able to pull him to the dark side, things of that nature. It could be Leia, and it could be any Jedi, really. We could find out that Omega, actually, she's not a Jedi, so I don't think that would happen. But honestly, any of the Jedi, it could be anyone from Order 66, anyone there. It could be anyone coming up, and they could introduce the Jedi that's going to be in the, movie in probably 2025 with Rey setting about a new Jedi Order. It could be based on people who were at Luke's Jedi Academy. We know there's other Force-sensitive people there. So they have a lot of options.
More Yaddle.
Yeah, so yes. We could, R.I.P. Yaddle. That would be, I'm all for that. So, that's a good news. We also found out that, thank you. We found out that the Skeleton Crew is coming out in 2023. So this year we got the Bad Batch, the Mandalorian, Ahsoka, and the Skeleton Crew. They did release some footage at Star Wars Celebration Europe. It was not released on the interwebs. But I guess it has been confirmed that Jude Law is playing a Jedi.
Yep. That's what it says here in my information. And it says the series is it follows 4 kids who end up on an adventure to make their way home after being lost in the galaxy after a discovery they make on their home planet. That's the premise as we know it. Me, I don't really get excited about depends on, are these teenagers or are they like 8 years old? If it's too young, I'm just going to feel like I'm watching a kid's show, and I don't usually get into those.
Yeah, I don't know the age of any of the kids. Once again, as long as the fact that it's funny because the story is that John Watts, the director of the MCU Spider-Man trilogy, pitched this to Jon Favreau while on set of Spider-Man No Way Home. So, and I guess Favreau was like, you know what, that sounds great, let's do it. And talk Lucasfilm into it, and now it's going to be coming out this year. So that is exciting news. Obviously we're not going to get footage of it, but we do know it's coming out in 2023. We just don't know when yet, but I'm going to assume later in the year.
I'll bet it's very like E.T. You know what I mean? There's going to be all these little situations that, you know, people at their age, the younger crowd, are going to have to deal with. Like, you know, just situations that they can get themselves out of with like a candy bar or something. You know what I mean? Like a Goonies type thing. That's what I'm picturing out of this. Goonies, E.T. It's going to be that kind of thing. That's my guess right now.
I like it. I think that's a very distinct possibility. Hopefully it's just good because, you know, not knowing anything about it, but at least it's not going to be, you know, tapered down by any sequel trilogy stuff or anything like that. Basically, they got a free roam, you know, being whatever they find on their home planet that takes them away, which sounds very world between worlds to me, but it could really be anything. It could be, you know, Sith technology. It could be an old Jedi holocron with some power to be able to move people. So there's a lot of possibilities there.
Could be very Stranger Things too. I guess I didn't think about that. I do watch Stranger Things and enjoy that. If it's that type of show too, like maybe not with obviously people from the upside down trying to possess you or anything like that. Same type of premise though. Like as far as things that kids can deal with, you know, at their age, that could be interesting.
Yeah,
Still
once again,
too goofy. Don't put too much Jar Jar into it. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
it's Star Wars. It doesn't have to be serious all of the time, but don't make it so silly that it's unwatchable. That's all I ask.
Yeah, agreed.
And then the other big series that we know is currently in development, The Acolyte. It has been confirmed it is coming 2024. Some footage was shown, not released to the internet. And we had talked about this before. This wasn't confirmed, but the rumor is that it's already been renewed for season 2.
We have reported that rumor here on this channel.
On a
Right.
segment we call Rumor Mill Rundown. Check it out, everybody.
Have another drink,
But-
man.
I know, my throat, this cold, even though I'm feeling better, I still have some remnants of it from this week. So always good to, you know, not feel great on the weekends, but at least I was sick during the week. But everyone that saw the footage said it was pretty good. There were, you know, it is set at the end of the High Republic, prior to, you know, I think 100 years before the Phantom Menace and all that. So, you know,
Yeah.
Jedi's will be running around, Sith will be there, and it is supposedly to be more Sith-centric. Like the protagonist is going to be a Sith, and obviously be dealing with probably Jedi and things of that nature. And this is the first time a show, any Star Wars show, has been centered on, you know, a dark side user. So exciting stuff. Hopefully it's good.
Yeah, it says it's like a crime drama, which is kind of interesting. You know, a Star Wars crime drama where they find out that one of the investigators is going to be a Sith. That's kind of cool. I just don't have a whole lot of trust in the writers. Again, just to see what else they've done. They haven't done much, so we'll see what happens. I can't look at it and say like Michael Bay and go like, oh, that's going to be terrible. I can't look at it like that, but I can look at it like, I don't know. I don't know what to expect because I don't know what, you know, they don't have really a body of work to compare it to. I did like Russian Doll though.
I was going to say the sample size isn't large, but some of the stuff they've done, I haven't seen Russian Doll, but I've heard good things about it. So, you know, let's hope that's a good sign, and let's hope they got the right people. You know, a lot of times, you know, they grab these, you know, directors and writers before they hit big because they see, you know, some talent in them or whatever. So hopefully that is the case here also.
Right on.
And then finally tonight,
Did you mention? Where's that other thing? Oh, the droid story. Did you mention that?
the droid story.
Yes. I said it was announced yesterday. Star Wars, it's an upcoming series, just announced, and it's going to star Anthony Daniels.
I did not see that. Now, I was busy most of today with Easter stuff and whatnot, but I did not see anything about a droid series starring Anthony Daniels.
Let me see here. Yeah, there's not much information on it. It's going to star C-3PO and R2-D2. And
Where are you getting this from?
I'm on the Wikipedia in Disney fandom.
Man, I'm not seeing that at all. I went to a couple different sites to see if I missed anything, and I didn't see that at all.
Here, let me just send it to you in Slack. I'll Slack it to you.
Nice.
Slack it to me.
Well, here's the official slate of all of the upcoming Star Wars. Okay, so it does say Visions Volume 2, Young Jedi Adventures, Ahsoka, Skeleton Crew, Andor Season 2, The Acolyte, Lando is No Time Frame, the Star Wars movie, the Dave Filoni, the James Mangold, Taika Waititi, Sean Levy Star Wars movie. Yeah, nothing in here says anything about that. I'll have to...
Yeah, send it to you in Slack there.
Yeah, let me... The film was announced on December 10th, 2020 to premiere on Disney+. I don't think this was anything that was announced at Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah, it's the same with the Lando. It was announced that same day. And that's all it's got, though.
Yeah, this was announced way back in 2020. If they said something during Star Wars Celebration, I didn't see it. But hopefully, the more Star Wars, the better.
Well, not necessarily. The more quality Star Wars.
The more quality Star Wars, yes. No, you're right.
And if we want to keep having it for the next few generations, make sure you put out some quality stuff, or else it's going to fade away. Went from being one of the best IPs ever, now it's in your hands. Whoever the next Doug, if you're the next president of that company.
Yeah, let's hope if he is, he takes it over. I don't see anything else. Well, the last thing that we did get today is a final gameplay trailer for... Ooh, my sound's working. Excellent. We see Cal Kestis. And I like that, she's like, you were only a child when they sent you off to war, because remember, he was around. His master saved him, much like Caleb Dune, a.k.a. Kanan Jarrus, when Order 66 was done. So he's been out on his own. Now, this is supposed to take place, I think maybe at the same time as Obi-Wan. And it's 5 years after the first game.
Now look at you.
I love that. We see all the different stormtroopers. I'm going to turn down the sound a little bit because that's kind of loud. We saw the normal stormtroopers. We saw the scout troopers. We see this giant beast, which is little robots trying to scan. And it tells them not to scan it. We see him running on walls, beating up a bunch of different stormtroopers. He's got the holocron, bike riding. I love that. He throws a dude right into a TIE fighter. That is going to be a fun time. A fun little time playing this game.
Well, he just wanted to make sure he got in the cockpit all safe,
That's right. Just making sure he was okay.
He cares about others.
But I do like that when she says there are no easy choices. So I think there's going to be a lot of things. Maybe I know BioWare has always been good about, you have very tough choices to make in their games, like Knights of the Old Republic, Mass Effect, and those games where it's like almost, it's like this person's going to die or this person's going to die. You can only save one, and it all depends on what you do, on who you save. And it sounds like that may be kind of coming into this Jedi Survivor a little bit.
These are tough times.
They are definitely tough times. We see the crew, we see some, I like that.
Yeah.
Looks like we will be fighting a Rancor in Jedi Survivor, which I'm all for.
They will always.
Nothing like a Rancor.
Yep. See his old crew, then you see ATST, which he pulls the driver out with the Force and just whips him. He's not nice to him. We see him pulling something together with the Force. And then this guy was in the first trailer that we got too. And, he says it seems like our, paths are destined to cross. So this might be later in the game. I don't think they would show the final boss fight in a trailer. So I think this guy, you're going to see him early, and then he might be like a mid-boss or some type. Because for those of you who have played the first one, you do fight Inquisitors in Jedi Fallen Order. And at the end, you basically face Vader. You don't actually fight him, but he kills the Inquisitor you're fighting because she has failed to get you, and you basically kind of escape. But, I mean, it'd be nice to see Vader. It'd be nice to see Maul in this game. They've said we're going to visit Coruscant in the game. It's not going to be open world, but, there's a lot of possibilities in this. And I love this. We were talking earlier about, all of these sort of prequel era stuff coming about. We've seen battle droids, we've seen super battle droids, and now we're seeing the destroyer droids here, which Cal comes up and makes very short work of. Comes up, just takes their shields out.
We must stand against the darkness.
Like that. If there's any hope, we must stand against the darkness. And maybe this will kind of introduce Cal's story into the rebellion and maybe working, more against the Empire with not just his little ship and his, close-knit group. Maybe it's going to open up and it's going to be more, and he might, join a rebel cell and have a bigger part. And maybe, the fact that the actor who plays him, Cameron Monaghan, looks so much like the character in the game. I do think at some point we're going to see Cal Kestis in live action.
He and Ahsoka would be good to be together.
Yeah, it would be.
Because they're, go ahead.
No, it would definitely be. It would make sense, if we see him and her during maybe the original trilogy working together and doing things. That would make a lot more sense because obviously they're not a part of the main storyline that we got in the trailer.
They could open a whole new world that runs at the same time as the original trilogy.
Yep. And as you can see by this, it is coming out on April 28th. I have pre-ordered the game. I have that day off. I am thinking about streaming that morning. The initial little bit of it.
Hours.
So hopefully everyone will be able to join us because it's going to be a good time. But I am definitely extremely excited for this game. And that was nice. That dropped this morning. I'm very excited for that game. The first one was good, and everyone who has had hands-on experience with this one said they've taken everything you love about Fallen Order and made it better. More customizations. In the first Fallen Order, it seemed like you were at a very straight path you had to walk. You didn't veer off. There was no real side missions per se. It was very, here, you do this, you do this, you do this. And I guess this is a little more... While it's not an open world, there's a little more room to wiggle in things you do and where you go as you go to places. So I'm excited. I can't wait for this game to come out. It was supposed to come out, it was supposed to come out in April. Oh no, it was supposed to come out in March, and then it got pushed to April 28th.
Right, this is April. So,
yes.
The day before the NFL draft.
Yep.
Or is that the NFL draft?
Well, the NFL draft, isn't it the 28th? Or the 27th, it starts Thursday night, the first round, and then it goes Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
You don't really need to watch it after that first day, though.
Yeah, you can still watch it if you got nothing else to do. I usually still watch it, especially when the Packers are. Yeah, that's right. Oh my God. I don't know. What was I looking up?
I don't know. Some Star Wars? First day of the
Oh,
draft?
the NFL. Yeah, NFL draft. Yep, Thursday, April 27th. So the night before will be the NFL draft. So everybody, make sure, Thursday night we'll probably be streaming who knows what on our Thursday night stream. We'll have a special Jedi Survivor release stream that morning. We can talk about the NFL draft while I'm playing. We can do whatever anybody wants. We're here for you guys.
It's wide open, baby.
That's right.
And,
we'll do whatever you guys want.
Our next theater review would be Guardians of the Galaxy. So everybody, make sure you get your tickets for that. Well, I guess not until we tell you to, though, right, Keith?
That's right. Wait till we'll see it on May 4th.
Yep.
We're seeing it on Star Wars Day.
Yep.
And then you watch our At the Theater spoiler-free review, then know, oh, yes, I should get tickets. And then, do that. Yeah, then we got what? We got The Flash. We got Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
We got Blue Beetle.
Yep.
We got Aquaman.
We got Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Yeah, that's this summer. Yeah, Aquaman is until
I think
December.
Now, yeah, they moved it up to December 20th.
Whoops.
So that'll definitely be interesting. Can't remember what else is. Something else is coming out at that time, but I can't remember what.
Yeah,
it's been a busy.
I have a feeling we're missing one.
I'm sure we are.
Well, if you want to know, you can always look back at that list we had of the most anticipated movies and series coming out this year. If you want to look back at our old videos.
That's right. You know what? That's always a good idea. Make sure if you're in the chat, I'm going to send you the link here in 1 second. You can go check out our YouTube channel. It's all good stuff. We have our most anticipated for this year. I don't know if the movie it's going up against, though, is like one we would see. I can't remember what it is. Yeah, well. But on a side note, I did see the Super Mario Brothers movie on Friday.
That is a side note. That's not Star Wars news. You should tangent time this.
I did tangent time.
You did? I don't see it.
I hit the button. It didn't go over to it. Darn it. Now it is.
Motherless goat. Tell us about it.
It was good. I mean, there's like zero plot, but it's funny. The animation's good. I mean, I had a good time with it. Sully loved it. He wants to see it again as soon as we can. We might go see it because it was just me and Sully. We might go with Becky and Tessie too. Now Tessie wants to see it, but there was 2 post-credit scenes. Jack Black was phenomenal in it. Everyone seems to be hating on Chris Pratt. I thought he did a good job. Charlie Day as Luigi was great. It was a very good time at the theater. It's very short. It's only like an hour and a half, and it really seemed like it was over before it even started.
Was the Lego movie good?
I wouldn't say as good as the Lego movie. I thought that first Lego movie was fantastic. This is good. It's a good time at the theater. It's nothing, monumental or kids love it, and it was entertaining for adults. And I think after
You're part of a team.
it is, I think with the fact that I think it's made $200 and some million worldwide over this 5-day weekend. I think we are definitely going to get confirmation of a sequel ASAP, because it set the all-time box office record for an animated film.
Wow. It's doing better than Shazam for crying out
Yeah.
loud.
A lot better than Shazam.
That's too bad. It really wasn't that bad a movie to be hosed like it is.
No, you're right. It definitely was not that bad. It's unfortunate. And don't forget to hit us up at Twitter, leave a comment down below, and we will see you next time on Not Your Status Quo.